Welcome back to Two Guides, One Truck. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of fishing, and we decided that we wanted to talk to you guys about why we became guides. So to start it off, quite a few years back now, I was out fishing, and I was with some people, and they had kids, and I was showing them a few things about fishing and whatnot, and the kids really started to get excited. And as I showed them more and more, the more they became excited in it. And that gave me a really good feeling. So I was talking to one of my friends that was a guide, and he was explaining his perspective on that as well. And why he became a guide was to do something very similar. And it was geared more towards getting kids out and into nature. And that in itself is a huge reason that I wanted to get into guiding, is to kind of get kids out, get them into nature, and really let them experience the outdoors. And as it progressed, I got my guide license, started up the business. It kind of changed paths, and I really wanted to start figuring out a way to provide a way to get these kids into the outdoors. And what I mean by that is, I needed to find a way to get some kids potentially housing, get some kids potentially, actual fishing gear and all that. Because when I very first started as a guide, it was more of a, hey, you're going to need all your stuff. Bring it with you. Mm-hmm. And like I said, as things progressed, I wanted to be able to provide more. So I started getting more into the, trying to get the YouTube up and going, and the podcasting. That way there was a different source of income. That way I could provide for these kids to go out free at no charge to the families and all that. And hopefully at some point be able to cover the expense entirely for these kids. And the overall goal of that was to get more kids into the outdoors. Because right now, it's kind of it's a popular thing, but it's also a dying thing because of technology.
Yeah, and I think that it's fad popular after COVID, but you're not seeing as many younger people, actual kids. They're not getting into it, or it's not holding their interest. The outdoors, anyway, all hunting and fishing.
Right, and it's a very, right now it's a dopamine-seeking youth, and they have it all right at their fingertips. They have endless technology that just supplies them with that constant dopamine fix. So they don't... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. One more thing is, it's not just the youth that has that addiction, that technology addiction. You see that at people, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s even.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not impervious to this. I mean, when have downtime at work or downtime at home, I find myself doing the same thing, just scrolling through the phone or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that nobody's really impervious to. And I try to limit it, but it right. doesn't end up being limited. Because
in this world, that's all you can do is just limit it.
Right. And even when I read, I find that I actually pull it up on my phone and read the books off my phone, because it's so much easier to go onto the Kindle app and flip through everything and read the book.
Right.
Because you have it right at your fingertips. You always have your phone with you.
Yep.
So then when a text message or something like that comes in, I find myself going to the text message and then going to something else and then something else, because that's how my brain works.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes into a tangent, I forgot entirely about my book.
Right.
But so yeah, back to the reason that I got into guiding was to eventually get more of the youth out into into the sport of hunting and fishing and all of that. And like I said, at some point I really hope that I'm able to provide cost-free trips to kids, people with needs.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, people that, or children specifically, that wouldn't have access to the outdoors. You're looking to give them a taste of it, you know, a way to get away from, say they live in a city or something like that, then they don't have the day-to-day get outside. Or even if they don't live in a city, if they
Right.
just don't have a way to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Exactly. And on top of that, you know, there are adults. I have a soft spot for, you know, the first responder, veteran community as well. So
Yeah.
I do like, I would like to provide free trips to them as well at some point.
Yeah.
But the very first would be getting the youth, the kids, the children into the outdoor sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh, so with me, it's pretty much the same idea got me into it. You know, it was more. So I had gotten into with fishing and hunting and all that, and you know, very young age. I think that it kept us out of a lot of trouble when we were growing up. It kind of got us into a little bit of trouble and taught us how to deal with that trouble. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But as my kids came along and they grew, it was just really, really fun, especially with fly fishing, you know, showing the boys how to get into it. And my oldest is really good at fly casting. He's lost a little bit of enjoyment for the fly fishing because it's a little complex, but both boys like spin cast. But it was that showing them and seeing them get into it and gain the knowledge and really enjoy it. And I like teaching people how to do that, and every aspect of it. And hunting, you know, I really enjoy taking people hunting or saying, hey, you know, you sit right here, or you do this or that, or give a call right here, or wait 20 minutes and walk 15 yards that way, you know, and helping people get what they're going after. I like that.
Yeah, that is a good feeling. And for me, what really sealed the deal is I took a good friend out fishing, and he has 3 boys. So he never got shown how to fish as a kid.
Yeah.
So he was lost, and one of his kids wanted to try fishing. So he asked me one day, and he goes, "Hey, can you give me a few pointers and some tips just so I can, you know, kind of go out and, you know, figure this out with my kids?"
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Well, how about I just take you guys out? That way, you know, I can just show you and make it a little bit smoother."
Right.
So he was all for it, and I was all for it, and we head out. I take him down to the Honey Hole, and it was midsummer, so it was Bass City.
Yeah.
And so it was a little tricky at first, because, you know, I'm trying to show 3 kids and an adult, you know, fishing, and
Right.
they were all new to fishing, and but the very first fish that they caught, just the absolute excitement of every single one of them.
Yep.
And it didn't matter who caught the fish. It was just pure excitement for all of them. And that really sealed the deal of, this is awesome. This is, it, you know, it makes me feel like when I caught my first fish, or when Warren caught his first fish,
Yeah.
you know, that enjoyment. Yeah, but it's on a different level, because when Warren caught his first fish, I was in the parent role. And,
Right.
you know, there was more that needed to be done, and, you know, it was exciting, don't get me wrong. But when they caught their first fish, I got to just stand back and enjoy the experience between a father and his sons.
And I think that that's something that's unique to guiding is you're there for this big experience. You're helping them right up until the point that everything gets together, and then you kind of fade into the background a bit. Let them enjoy their moment. That's their moment.
Yes, and that's the best thing about it, is that fading into the background, disappearing, letting them enjoy their moment,
Right.
and seeing that interaction between, and it doesn't have to be father and son. It could be mother and son, mother and daughter, father and daughter.
It could be just two guys that just met.
Yeah, absolutely. Brothers, brothers. There was another one, a father and son, and they were older. I want to say the dad was in his 70s, and the son was late 50s. And all the son wanted to do was watch his dad catch a fish.
Yeah.
And it was the reverse of how it normally is. So that's why it was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go out, and the son's kind of standing back. He's watching his dad. We started out fly fishing. Then we swapped over to spin cast. And when the dad caught the fish, the son just set everything down, walked over, enjoyed the moment. He didn't take any pictures. He left that to me, so I got the pictures, and the son just enjoyed the moment. And he enjoyed it so much, he actually gave me a hat from his deployment.
That's awesome.
And, that's one of those things that, it's a sentimental thing for him. So in my mind, it's better than a tip, because somebody gave you a piece of themselves to carry on
Right.
Into the future for guiding and
Absolutely. So there was one thing you had said that, not to jump off topic too much, but you are saying that it was the son getting the father kind of into it. He wanted to have his father catch the fish, and that's something that you see a lot actually with our generation, is that the children of our generation are getting the older generation into the hunting and fishing, because in that time frame, the 70s and 80s, everything was work.
Right.
You don't see it too much around here, because just the way that this was a way of life. You still do see it.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the more inhabited areas of the country, you had the older generation that was just trying to make a dollar and let a lot of this stuff go.
Right. And I think you're spot on with that, because there was a heavy work population that, like dad's age.
Yeah.
And how often does dad go fishing?
Now I think he goes quite a bit.
Yeah, now he goes quite a bit. But when we were kids, I don't recall too much fishing going on.
No, he did early on when I was really, really young, but he got out of it to, make the almighty dollar.
Right. And that's the hard thing now, is people are trying to make the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
And, it goes in waves, but, I remember it wasn't too long ago. It was a couple years back. That was the first time that I actually went fishing with Dad.
Yep.
Yeah. But
no, yeah, it was the first time in probably 30 years, actually more. So I had gone when I was younger, but you were really young. Like 1 or 2.
Yeah, young enough. I don't ever remember doing it.
And that was the thing, is he was into hiking, biking, hunting, fishing, but all of that faded as more children joined the family,
Right.
And
yeah, and it's not cut and dry. It's not easy to get out and do some of these things, especially if you have a larger family.
Right.
You can't, especially back then on a, single provider income, you couldn't purchase, at some points 8 fishing poles.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because even, the price was still the same. You're looking at, $20 to $40 per fishing pole, but it's just, back then, $20 to $40 was a chunk of change.
Oh, yeah, that was Well, minimum wage was what, $5 an hour? So
I think it was less than that.
it probably was, yeah.
Because when I started working, it was $5 an hour.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Isn't that crazy? Doesn't it make you feel old?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They're mostly the aches and pains make me feel old. But
Yeah. Oh.
So we'll jump back in time a little bit. So that's what got you into guiding, but that's not what started your interest in the outdoors by any stretch.
No, not at all. Ellis was actually a huge contributing factor to my interest in the outdoors because that was a means of our survival. And, I think that provided a different outlook for us on it because we needed to fill our tags, during deer season.
Right.
That's how we survived.
Yeah.
We needed to hunt duck. We needed to hunt deer. I don't know if you ever went out much, but partridge hunting. I did a lot of partridge hunting with them.
Every partridge that we had hunted, there was no official partridge hunt. It was when you went hunting, you were hunting, and anything that walked out was what you shot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there were a few times that I specifically went partridge hunting, and I remember this because it was such a funny story. You remember that 22 revolver?
Oh, yes, his Joker gun.
Yeah, absolutely. So he picked up this. I don't want to say it was bird shot. I think it was like varmint shot.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to spread, and it was supposed to simulate a bird shot.
Yep, those rounds are good for about 3.5 feet.
So
that's it.
We were driving along and we see this partridge, and it was perched up on a log, and it just stopped. It stayed perfectly still. So we get out of it was the Mercury that we were in. It had like 800,000 miles on it. So
Topaz.
The Topaz. I don't know why we got out of it. It probably didn't even have doors on it at that point. So we make our way through the rust on the side.
Yeah.
And we get out. When we get to the side of the road, and he pulls up and he shoots this thing with that new bird load that he had, and it just knocks it right off this. It was a fallen tree, blows it right off it. And he's like, all right, I got it. And its head pokes back up, and it just bolts. It takes off running.
Yeah.
So we never use that again.
No, that stuff is, it's fun, but it's not really good for anything. Rising fish right there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so that's about it. Well, anyway, thank you for listening to the podcast, and I hope that you guys tune into our next episode, which will happen to be on fish. Have a good day and enjoy it. Thank you.